everybody, and welcome to Anime Sickos. It's the podcast for geniuses, and the only podcast where we look at the four pillars of modern misery: anime, gaming, posting, and jobs. Those things, yucky things. Oof, bad. I am Tom, an anime sicko.
I'm Joe, an anime sicko. This is our first time recording in 2021, the year where nothing fucks up.
Joe, you made a very interesting point prior to starting recording, which is like, as bad as 2020 was, we did have 3 months where the plague wasn't happening.
Yeah, like, I didn't think about the virus for 3 months. That's not gonna happen for 2021. But
It rules. It rules how they got a vaccine, but like, they're just gonna throw it all in a big hole. It's very fun. Anyway, Joe, I understand that we have a very special episode today. Is that true?
it's true. We have Guestos, plural.
That's unusual. 2 Guestos? You tell me we got 2 Guestos, Joe?
Seeing double,
That's crazy.
4 Guestos.
That's amazing. Well, Joe, okay, obviously these 2 Guestos are completely unrelated and are wildly different from each other, and they have no connection, right? Like, that's probably right?
Well, that's what I thought at the start, and you corrected me.
I forgot. I have an amnesia. You have to correct me, too. Joe, what's their deal?
We are joined by the good gentleman, Vince White, and Aaron J. Shelton from Kame House Party, the improvised Dragon Ball podcast, which kicks ass.
Folks, I'll be the first to tell you, it's funny. You should listen to it. If you like Dragon Ball, especially. Aaron and Vince, thank you all for being on the show. Introduce your dang selves. Talk. Now you can talk. It's allowed now.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm Vince. Hello, everyone. Hello, sickos out there.
Hey, I'm Aaron, and I guess we're in a Earth Prime, Earth 2 situation, because you're the only podcast, yet we are also a podcast.
Yeah, so that's an exception that comes up a lot. It's best not to think about it.
Okay, great.
Yeah. I start fading out if people start talking like that.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, the Kame House Party boys, folks, we love them. We were on the Kame House Party podcast a while ago. We watched Saiyan Sai's Secret. It was a delight. You should definitely check that episode out and all of the other ones. So I understand this correctly. You are what you do for the Kame House Party podcast is you fucking watch every episode of Dragon Ball Z and then do an episode about it where you do fucking actually funny improv scenes about the specific episode you watched, and you're gonna do them all. Do you know there are many episodes of Dragon Ball?
We are aware of the numbers of episodes and podcasts that would be required to do what we're doing, and we've been doing it for 4 years. So we are we're deep in there. We cannot escape.
We were not aware at first, for sure, because our lives would be much different if we had realized that. But yeah, we're in it. We keep threatening people that we're going to watch GT.
Yeah, that's our audience.
We have to.
Is we get to threaten them with non-canon Dragon Ball episodes that we won't get to for another half decade.
That's like a power dynamic I really respect. Normally, I'm not into the unequal power distribution, but like when you can force filler on people, that's pretty good.
That is the podcast, Aaron. We are like 80% filler, which is Dragon Ball in a nutshell.
Yeah.
That's where the improv comes in.
So honestly, as much as I have spent thinking about Dragon Ball, I've not watched a single episode of GT. Little things bleed through, like through cultural osmosis. Like I know Bulma makes a machine to make Vegeta buffer, and then he becomes an ape. Like, that happens.
Oh, the Bloodwaves machine.
But, like, it's bad, right? It sucks? Like, it has to, right?
Aaron, I'll let you take this one.
I've only seen 4 episodes of GT via a VHS bootleg, if I can betray my age for a second. But, like, it was fine. They go into space. That's usually fun, right?
No, it's not fun. I have seen all of GT at least twice. It does not get better with age. It feels weird and wrong. It's disrespectful to certain characters outright. it's the beginning, I think, of the end of what could be considered the great Dragon Ball arcs in history.
And Toriyama was like completely driving that, or was this something he just signed off on?
I think it was that he just kind of signed off on it. He's like, wait, you guys want to make more of this terrible garbage? Fine. just let me not do anything. And then he saw it and was like, okay, you assholes. I have to take the reins back.
It was a Watchmen level scheme to get Toriyama to make more Dragon Ball.
It's like, oh, you don't like these characters? You actually don't really consider this, really good work of yours? I mean, then I guess it would be fine if we did all this shit. You wouldn't mind that.
They're going to space. You like Gontex, right? Well, he just doesn't get on the ship. He's not there.
He just happens to be late.
Wait, really?
Yes, that is
my
the
God.
inciting incident, is that, oh no, Gotenks is late.
Which rules, because that also, like, Goku kidnaps Vegeta's son to go on an adventure, right? Is that basically what happens?
Yeah, your weird, not uncle is like, hey, come on, we're going to go on an adventure. You, me, and my second son, because my first son isn't really my son anymore. He belongs to a green man. And then, let's go off into space with my granddaughter. Oh, crap, you're not Gotenks. You're my granddaughter.
Okay, wait, okay, I have a question. So I kept seeing on Twitter, like, Dragon Ball Fighter Z includes new characters, including Super Baby 2. Is that where Baby comes from?
Absolutely, 100%. Have you heard of the Truffles?
Like the lint man who looks at the whisk? I've heard of that.
Yeah, that very man, the very Lind man, the Lindor Truffle man, shared the planet Vegeta with the Saiyans long ago. And then the Saiyans were like, nah, y'all are weak. I'm going to take all your sweet, sweet candy. We're going to use the blood waves to turn into great apes. And then Baby is like the last of the Truffles, but he's got Liquid Terminator powers and can take over the body of Vegeta, who in GT is given a mustache.
No wonder Toriyama came back for this shit.
It's so dumb. But before the Super Baby of Dragon Ball Fighters, Super Baby 1 is a golden grade ape version of Vegeta after Baby takes over Vegeta. And I think Baby also brainwashes Bulma to be like, I got your girl.
And that obviously affects Vegeta because unlike Goku, like, that matters.
Yeah, a little bit. I think after some of that, he kicks Baby out of his body. Then they become Super Saiyan. Or no, they become Gogeta Super Saiyan 4. Fun. That non-canon form that is in the video game Dragon Ball FighterZ.
Can I say something about the podcast that I really respect? And it's that both of you realize that one of the funniest things in the world is when Vegeta has to do normal guy stuff.
You mean like wear shirts with sleeves?
Yeah. They're just like do normal things.
We haven't gotten to Super yet, but I do love when he's forced to have a fun adventure at a theme park with his family.
Yes. And then he gets pissed and flies away in the middle of a concert, and everyone's like, what?
Oh, I'd hate to be that band. We're so bad a dude learned how to fly and left.
Usually happens at most improv shows. Booyah.
Take
Take that, art form that I love.
I was going to get into this later, but let's just get into it now. Who fucking cares? So yeah, you guys do improv, and Joe and I, we're from Chicago, the one of the big centers of improv comedy in the country, and so we're tangentially aware of a lot of improv guys, and our view of improv, especially improv where it's like not on a podcast, where if you fuck up, you can't be like, yeah, that was yuck. Let's start over.
It's like a group hostage situation.
Yeah, it sounds like something you would be forced to do with punishment because, like, you did a crime.
Or you work at a corporate job. That is a punishment that I almost got hired to do for my own company. when they found out I did improv. They're like, "Would your team like to come like teach us improv?"
That's like
Just fire me.
like legit. That is like the scariest thing that can probably happen to you, where you stay employed after.
True, but it was a way that I saw I could make a little bit more money out of my employer by charging standard theater rates for my indie team.
Oh,
Well, that's
shit.
good too.
But
Yeah,
I did
yeah.
not. I did not take them up on that. God, that would be awful. That would have been terrible.
So the question becomes this. Improv sounds very scary to us. Joe and I recoil from it like when you touch a stove. It's just ouch, and we jerk back. How come you guys do it? How come you guys enjoy it? And how come, this is the one that really baffles me, because I've seen a lot of improv, and I didn't think this was possible. How come you guys are actually funny and make me laugh?
It's really good.
First, thank you. That's very nice and sweet of you to say. So I wanted to take sketch, and they didn't have any classes available. So I'm like, well, improvs, why not? Let's go.
Oh my god.
And so I guess why do I like it would be I had a teacher who was up here in Pittsburgh. They kind of explained it the best, where it's creative crack. Improv is a very quick hit of the juice that I crave whenever I'm making something. And it's like the fastest way. And that's the fastest. It's one of the fastest ways to get to it. Because like writing is, you get that sometimes, but it's mainly I'm bad and I should stop doing this.
The much teased Sicko secret project, which you guys might know a little bit about what that is. I don't know why you would know, but I'll just tease the fans. It involved a lot of writing, and I'm really feeling what you're talking about here, which is like I put in so much fucking work, and the time between the work and the good juices was months.
Yeah, and like again, same as like working in film and video. It's like you get that juice eventually, maybe, or you're too wrung out to enjoy it. So yeah, improv is like I need that sweet chemical that my brain makes when I make a funny, and I need it as fast as possible.
In like a very kinetic, fast way. Like you don't even see the exact contours of the dopamine you're about to get from your funny when you start, which I imagine is kind of addicting. Like when Tom and I do, like, well, Tom does it more than me, but when he hosted Live Lit, like, you get up there, you know your jokes. Like, you know what's probably going to get a laugh. But I imagine with improv, you don't even have that.
No, it's very much like to Aaron's point, like that hit when something clicks on stage, and like you really know, like, this has never like I've never thought in this way before, and something like a line drops and it hits all the way to the back of the room, and then you're just like, oh, all I have to do now is this little pose and people are going to blow their minds, and then it's like, yeah, of course, it's great. Of course, when it does not work, it is one of the most demoralizing and sad things that you could be a part of as an audience member and as a performer.
There's so much potential shame multipliers.
There was, okay, I gotta tell you the worst improv I ever saw. So, the company I used to work for, I mean, it's still the company I work for now, it just got bought by the company I work for now, but the company I used to work for, one of my good buds worked there in a different department. He was a tech guy. And he was letting me know, like, hey, another one of my coworkers in the tech area is doing an improv show tonight. It's free. I'm going. Do you want to go with me? And I'm like, oh, do I want to hang out with my buddy? Hell yeah, I do. I'd love to. And comedy also on top of that? Sounds great. Well, no, wrong. I'll tell you the end of the story now. Wrong. So we got to the show. There was a stand-up comic. I came to know the stand-up comic pretty well. I booked him a few times for my show. He's funny. He did a set that was pretty good. He got better than that. I have seen him tell much better jokes since. Then came up this guy's improv troupe, and they were a musical improv troupe. where they just sort of do like the same like doo-wop beat every time. They did 3 songs, and I gotta tell you, it was the same song. They actually did the same song 3 times. They did the same. They got into the exact same groove every single time. It was supposed to be improvised. It was the same. And 2 of the songs, I'm not fucking lying to you, 2 of the songs had the same chorus, like the same. It was, how come you have to be so much of a dick every day? And someone said that, and they decided that was the chorus twice. And then all the verses where people would come up and like talk about like a scenario where someone was rude, and then they would go into the chorus. And there were like 10 guys in this improv troupe, and each of them had to take a verse every song.
Ooh.
You see why I'm surprised when you guys like kick ass and are funny and end the scene at the right point?
That's surprising because musical improv is such a great cheat. Mm-hmm. Like it really hides the cracks.
People lose their mind if you sing a song. I say this because I can't sing, and I was like, well, fuck, like that's the easy one.
Yeah, we there was one show we were at. There, a dude was doing, I think, stand up, and just every now and again would burst into the song from Pocahontas, "The Colors of the Wind." And everyone is laughing, and I am just steaming in my seat.
Oh, yes.
The only one just mad. Like, you're just singing a song we all know. That's not a joke.
Yes, but you can never articulate those thoughts because then you're the biggest asshole on the planet. So you just have to like exist and think, I'm going to tell someone that understands at some point about this.
You did, and we understand.
I've held that for like 4 years, and I'm so glad it's not a part of me.
Aaron held it in for a while.
I can ascend to heaven now. I am sin-free.
Hell yeah. All right, folks. We've done this initial chat bit pretty long. We've had fun. You've all been funny and charming. I'm sure now the listeners are like, I'm down with these Aaron and Vince folks. They're charming. So this is now when we have to ask the question. Joe, do you want to ask the question of Aaron and Vince?
Sure. Aaron and Vince, are you anime sickos?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. But maybe not for the reason y'all might think.
Oh, now I'm interested. This is kind of a no-brainer question because usually when you ask people that, they don't have a improv Dragon Ball podcast. So normally there's like some hemming and hawing about what it means. So I will now just cede the floor to just talk about your awful anime origins or where the interest started or wherever.
Or this weird twist you've teased us with.
Yes.
Because you're hitting me with a left curve, a curve left turn. It's different. Fuck.
The course has changed.
Yes.
So I thought about this all week, and I think the moment that you can genuinely codify me as a sicko is that I used to smoke. I don't anymore, but I did in my youth. And the main reason I started is because Spike Spiegel smokes, and he is cool as hell. And I wanted to be cool too.
Yes. We don't need to go into this too far, but Tom and I, whenever someone is smoking in fiction, we're always like, anyone who says it's not cool is a fucking liar. I want to smoke all the time.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, like is legitimately when fucking Sanji like takes his cigarette out, I'm like, it's like he's a Looney Tunes man who has silly eyebrows, but when he takes his fucking cigarette out, I'm like, goddamn, I would pay money to bring Sanji his slippers. What can I do for you, Daddy? It's so badass.
Yeah, so I don't know further evidence needed.
Yeah, for real. Agreed.
The defense rests. We now call Mr. White to the stand. I guess for me, Dragon Ball is definitely one of the first anime that I remember watching and getting excited about, apart from like the OG Pokemon thing that was anime before anime. But I think it was when I discovered Yu Yu Hakusho and was like trying to tell my friends that they should watch Yu Yu Hakusho, and it was well past when everybody stopped watching Dragon Ball with me.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, you guys, it's on Toonami. There's this dude with a spirit gun, and there's this Dragon of the Darkness flame, and then there's this guy Kuwabara who says, he's like, you're Meshi. Spirit sword. Like, I was like, you guys gotta watch it, and they're like, nah, man. We're into football. We're into NCAA football and girls.
Yeah, this is straight up Yu a fucking version territory. That's incredible. Oh man, I am jealous, but at the same time not jealous of like people who had the confidence and self-awareness to just become a sicko early. Because I had to like spend a lot of years not being an anime sicko, not really knowing what I was supposed to do or who I was. What's my identity? What's the thing I'm into? And then I became a sicko later on, which was if I had just been watching Yu Yu Hakusho in 8th grade and learned about Seaman.
Vince and Aaron, did you have the thing that I had where you got into anime and then it just left you for a while and it came back to you later? Because I had that experience, and I don't know if that is like a common through line.
I do have I guess about a 10-year gap.
Yeah.
In my sickodom. Part of it was I was raised Mormon. I went on a Mormon mission for 2 years, and so that's sort of where, because I'd been away for so long, I kind of dropped it there. And then when I started school, I definitely dropped it. Mm-hmm. And then it didn't come back until the podcast. I guess I had to make up for lost time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dragged Aaron back into the shadows.
Okay, so let me get this straight. You started a Dragon Ball improv podcast where the premise was we're going to watch every episode of Dragon Ball, all iterations of it, and do an episode of a podcast per episode of the show. And you were like, that sounds good. I'm kind of ambivalent on anime.
I think when Vince and I first started doing improv together on a team, we clicked really quickly because I think we were the dorkiest two of the bunch.
100%.
And then, yeah, you got your anime germs on me.
I think
is how that happened.
It was in that initial practice, and we were doing 2-person scene work to, warm up and stuff, and we got paired together, and I think you said something offhand, and I replied with something that was in both of our wheelhouse so hard that you were like, well. And then when we walked off, out of that scene, which was just not in a practice space, I believe it was in somebody's apartment, we smiled at each other, and I felt like, this guy sees me. This guy definitely sees me. And it was just, I kept pitching him stuff to do.
That's where in Persona it shows you found the social link. It's like it's at level 0.
Aaron will remember
what's your
this.
arcana?
The pitch of the podcast was very flippant.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, who knows what's going to happen with it? But in New York, every summer, there was what was called the Del Close Improv Marathon. I'm sure I'm butchering the name. And we were actually performing there, which is not a big deal. They have like 10 theaters, and they're going for 72 hours.
It's a marathon. They need lots of runners.
Yeah. But because of that, we got to go to the performer space, which just meant like free warm beer. And a balcony.
Free Narragansett sour or something like that.
Something that everyone complained about.
And that the bartenders were giving away cases at the end to people that were hanging around late enough.
That's how you know it's good.
And then we were just looking over the sprawl of New York. And I'm like, hey man, do you want to do a podcast?
And I said, yup.
How about Dragon Ball? That'd be cool, right?
Objectively true.
Yeah, and I said, hell yeah.
Like this is folks behind the curtain. This is how the creative process really works. There's no secrets. It's just like sometimes someone says something and you're just like, damn, you right. Like, this is such a heartwarming meet cute. I love this.
And we did it all right in front of the UCB 4.
I'm sure that means something.
This is perfect. This is exactly how people should react when I drop insider improv shit.
I will say, when you said like, I could tell that Aaron was the nerdiest person there. I think that's the thing that really scares me about improv, because like all the sort of comedic, creative areas that I sort of live in and have performed in are like exclusively like weird nerds. But like improv has like business guys who like are confident and can't conceive of a bad thing happening to them. And it's like, how do you I'm sorry, you can't make art with those people. Like, well, they aren't human beings. They don't have a same brain as me.
Can I expand on that for a moment? There was someone in my freshman dorm who was just like a very nice guy, but just like super like white bread. And he was like, I think I'm going to do improv. And I was like, cool. And I was like, all right, that's interesting. And then like at the end of the year, I hear like everyone's like, that dude is killing it. It's just like, he is a force to be. And I was like, I am filled with so much doubt. And this guy, it didn't occur to him that he could get up there and it wouldn't go awesome.
I mean, was he good?
I never saw it, but like, because like if I did see it, what happens? I find out he's really good, or it's the thing where Aaron just said, where it's like he's just singing a song, and I get upset. So there was no benefit for me ever confirming.
That is when you realize that you're stepping like out, really, when you're like, hey, I got an improv show if you want to come to it. Like me saying that to my coworkers, or like, I host an improv jam on Sundays once every month. It's a lot of fun. You guys should come. Like, just, you don't have to perform. You can just sit in the back. It's fun.
I remember doing a show, and the company I was freelancing at the time, another editor was there. And I'm like, I should leave. I've said hi to this dude 3 times, maybe, but that's still too much familiarity. I need to go. He cannot see this.
Yeah. Anytime someone at work learns, this doesn't happen so much now because I don't fucking see anyone at work. Everyone at work is a line of text on the computer. But I used to have people at my work find out every like 6 months or so. Like, oh, I hear you like do a show, and I'm like, oh, could you please suffer a head injury right now so that you forget that you asked me that? I just want nothing more than to not explain it to you.
I had a boss. I think we were waiting on some call, and we're chatting, and he knows I did the podcast. He had never listened to it before. And for some reason, he determined, you know what? I should listen to it right now front of you.
No.
And I literally walked out of the room.
Absolutely not.
Like, do you not know how this works?
That is the same as saying, hey, buddy, I'm going to jack my hog right now. Just like absolutely unacceptable.
Audio tubing it. That's what just happened.
Yes. So, Aaron and Vince, my understanding is that you both are playing Cyberpunk 2077.
That is correct.
So,
Your Honor.
Tom and I haven't played it. Tom doesn't like it because he keeps calling it Gun Skyrim, and everyone gets upset with him. And I don't play it because there's no cards. Like, I don't shuffle anything. I don't draft any new cards. That sucks to me. So, can you just, like, please give us all the bullshit that, like, exists about this and all the weird T-posing you probably have seen, and just let it wash over us?
So first things first, this is a bad game and an awful game, both from an ethics standpoint and also a technical standpoint. I think I am 65 hours into it now.
Holy moly.
Oh, I don't think I've hit that level. I'm probably somewhere around the 20 to 23 hour mark, because the game was reliably crashing every 45 to 50 minutes on me as I was trying to play it.
Holy shit. Are you playing it on consoles or PC? Because I hear that if you play it on a console, like you're basically like just taking a hammer to your PlayStation as you play, and like one of these hammer breaks is gonna break it for real.
I'm playing on PS4 Pro. I think it's the same for you, right, Aaron?
That is correct.
Yeah, and it's awful. It's it's technically astounding the amount that happens every single time I turn on the game. Like you're supposed to be able to call your car like it was your horse. In every open world game, it appears somewhere behind you, within walking distance. For me, the car has spawned on a median and exploded, run me over, killed me. The other night when I was playing, the car that I summoned appeared and then continued to drive away. I still had the marker, and the farthest it got was 100 meters away in game. That's just summoning a car for me. It's trying to travel in the game.
I mean, if we're thinking about like a cyberpunk future that satirizes our current hell world, presenting to you an auto-driving car feature that the game is like, yeah, this works every time, and having it never work and kill you is very actually on point. I know for a fact that was not intended, though.
What did I do? I think I tried to hop a fence, and then the game said, "Oh, you wanted me to shoot you back 300 meters, right?"
Oh my god, yes.
That's what you were trying to do when you pressed X?
People like when this happens in Mario 64, so you like it now, right?
Aaron's trying to do a games done quick for Cyberpunk. It's 65 hours. He's in the lead.
Holy moly.
I am so thankful that I was excited for the game. I played the tabletop game many years ago. Mm-hmm. And really, I just wanted a game where I didn't have to roll for grenade placement. I just wanted to hit the button.
Yeah.
And that was like, if that happens, then I think this is this will take me to where I need to go. It's bad, but the characters are very good, and I love all of them, even though we're all murderers. So there is some dissonance because in any cyberpunk game, 9 times out of 10, you're just working freelance. Mm-hmm. You're in the gig economy of murder. And there is a side quest where someone's like, hey, this dude wants to get revenge because the guy got, he thinks he didn't get enough punishment for killing his wife. And your character, who is a murderer for hire, is like, I don't know about that. This seems I don't know. Should he really be doing this? It's not worth it. Like, there is a scene where you're trying to talk the guy out of it.
Right. When you just got done shooting a guy with a future Glock for $20.
Yeah.
Where, like, if you actually, like, look at the gameplay, you killed, like, 200 guys this week.
I mean, the quick hacking, where it's like, I insert a floppy disk and your brain explodes, is very fun.
Connect to Wi-Fi and burn you. Like that is a thing that you could do that's super fun. I
hit Command F4, and now you can't see.
Tacking on to the stupid things that you can do in the game, I don't know if you got this mod, Aaron, but you can put a mod on a gun that makes it non-lethal but also increases the damage that it does by 6. I put 2 of those on a shotgun, and so now I can run around Night City blasting people in the face with a cyber shotgun that does no technical damage, so I don't kill anybody.
It's a victimless
You're the
crime.
Sandman.
Yes, I'm the Cyber Sandman.
You bring them a dream.
There's, I know no one's ever been horny here, but
Yeah.
there are sex scenes. There are scripted sex scenes that are all in POV.
Oh yeah.
And one of those scenes, you are Keanu Reeves. So as Keanu Reeves, you have to have sex.
There is no skip either. You cannot. I tried to skip the scene,
And
it's awful. It's so bad.
You said it's first person and you're Keanu Reeves. So is there a mirror you're constantly looking at as you fuck?
Yes.
Huge.
Wait, really? No.
The length of the room.
I thought that was a joke.
He's in a green room. He's in a green room and doing the dirty, and it's awful. Like,
That's so funny.
but
in
Keanu
the
is
mirror-
fun. He's a fun part of the game.
He looks in the mirror and says, "I bet you never thought I'd do this when I was starring in The Devil's Advocate opposite Al Pacino."
I bet you never thought you'd be staring down the barrel of Johnny Silverhand's gun, did you gonk merc piece of shit? How come I got
yeah.
stuck in the brain of an idiot?
The game is like much like Doro Hetero. It's someone's very specific fetish of Keanu Reeves just yelling at you and being mad.
Yeah. So, I when I think of jank of a game that is like very good but horribly broken, I think of like when Vampire Masquerades came out, and then there was like that PC patch that made it like functional. So, the question I want to pose is like, does such a patch exist to make this like good, or is like what is under the jank also shitty? Because like we've also mentioned, like the game is made of blood, like it was made by blood being squeezed out of people doing crunch and all that stuff. So like, what jank aside, what's here?
First, I will say that I think the game has been patched a total of 3 or 4 times, and it has gotten nothing has been fixed. And at least on my end, I had the most crashes, I think, on this latest patch.
Oh boy.
But to answer the big question, it's always going to be bad, and I think Vince and I were doing our pre-interview together before coming on, and we were joking about it. And Vince he's like, "Why aren't there cyber centaurs?"
Yeah.
And like and that's the point, right? It's 2077. It's
Right.
in a cyberpunk future where the idea is that technology is supposed to improve your life, even though the meta commentary is that no, technology makes everything bad, and we should grow corn and not do anything else. So like, just go nuts.
Yeah. Like, why is it so tame? Why is a cyber mod not just a tentacle that I can apply to any part of my body?
This shit goes straight to why I don't have any interest in this game, which is because I was fucking spoiled by Android Netrunner, the card game, the now defunct card game that has a completely bespoke cyberpunk setting known as Android, owned by Fantasy Flight Games. And that, I gotta say, it is fucking... I've looked at a lot of cyberpunk fiction because I think it's a really interesting idea and it's almost never pulled off right. This is the best cyberpunk ever, this fucking card game. And it does all that shit you're talking about. And like, part of why it's so good is because it doesn't pull the thing as like technology. You'd think it'd be good, but actually technology is evil. And it's like, no, technology in this setting is not portrayed as evil. Like technology, you can see in many of the cyberpunks, their lives are very much better because of it than they would normally be. But the thing is, when a technology is a tool and the tool is getting increasingly powerful, but corporations and capitalism have those same tools. And so if capitalism has more powerful tools, well, then they're going to be stronger and be able to push down on you harder. That's what's the tension. It's not like, isn't technology making you less human? It's like, no, it's not. Technology's good, but like fucking Amazon's got that technology too, and they have more money than me, so they have more of it. And now I'm fucked more by them. Not by technology, by people who made that decision to be evil.
But you have a robot arm, and it's fine. Like, it's not an ethical quandary. It's because you didn't have an arm, and now you have a good robot one.
Mm-hmm. It should be you didn't have eyes, now you can see with this faceplate on your face. But instead, it's just like, all you can see is the same shit. It's not like they're... I want to put in a cyber eye, and then the world that I inhabit is now an anime. That's what should happen in Cyberpunk.
Oh my God.
But that doesn't happen unless, Aaron, does that happen later in the game?
No. There's just a sex scene that basically, so there's a scene where it's, hey, remember Pacific Rim and how they had to link up brains? What if they fucked in that mech?
Would it be weird? Yeah, the answer's yeah.
Yeah, what if John Boyega and Charlie Day had sex in that mech?
I would pay to see that movie. This fucking Netrunner spoiled me is another reason. Like where just the fact that Cyberpunk is a shooter and that's not like you can play as many classes, including a gunman. Like that, the fact that like that is the core of the gameplay. Like I'm never gonna play that game because I don't. If there's a Cyberpunk world where my main way to interact with it is shoot gun, it's like okay, so then I'm not actually able to interact with it in a fun way because I've shot guns in video games before. I know what that's like. I'm tired of it.
It's pretty good.
So-
I keep coming back.
No, I'm not. I don't. I'm done with it. I never want to shoot a gun in a game again.
So to answer is there a patch that can fix this question? I don't like visual novels, but if this was a visual novels, that would fix this entire thing.
I'm with Aaron on that. They are
Make
making
it a
a
book.
Cyberpunk anime as well in conjunction, which I don't think will ever come out now. But
Yeah.
They chose the wrong medium to tell what is kind of an interesting story. Like I find myself going, well, if they didn't have to load in as much of this stupid, dense, idiotic world that they built, maybe the game would run better and I wouldn't have as many complaints. Like maybe my weapons would load in the menus. Maybe my clothes wouldn't pop off whenever I go into third person on my motorcycle.
I love some late textures. Oh, man. That's the funny stuff. When you pull up to a place and it's like, oh, I live in a Lego land. Oh, wait, there's the bush.
I have a perfect story for that. I was playing last night, trying to accomplish a single mission same mission I was doing all night. I didn't realize that it was taking the world minutes to load in an elevator and got trapped underneath it.
Oh, yes. Yes.
It let you get in the elevator shaft with no elevator.
It let me walk in the icon, the information icon appeared. It's like, go here, go through this open elevator door. And I walked in, and then I was like, oh no. Then I looked up as it spawns in. I'm like, I can't get out.
They need to put that in the anime. Like, that's the only way this works.
But to Tom's point, if any of this was intentional, in terms of like, yeah, cyber sucks and it's all fucked up and it's glitchy as hell and we did this on purpose, you stupid gamer, then fine. But when investor calls are leaking and investors are saying like, why don't the cars have pathing? Why do I see the same NPC in the same area every time I go into it? How did this get past CERT? Like,
I saw someone post that like the child NPC models are legit just adult NPC models where they cut out the middle part of the torso and just glue the feet and shoulders.
That's so
it's
good.
awful.
If CD Projekt Red sent out a press release that just said "got him," that would game of the year.
Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode. 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 Aaron, you wrote down that you have a interesting story to tell, and listener behind the curtain, we hemmed and hawed over like, I don't know, this story is kind of like sad. I don't know if this would be good podcast fodder, but Aaron and Vince kept saying like really cryptic things about the story.
Yeah.
And now I just want to fucking know what happened. They're like, oh man, just when this happened,
There's a treasure map.
I don't know. And it's like, well, I want to know. So tell us.
All right, so for the past decade, I've worked in film and video, mainly as an editor, but starting out like a bunch of people do. I was a production assistant, just a gopher. You're just doing whatever you can, trying to make a buck and meet some people. So I was very broke at the time, the impetus for any employment, and my friend called and said, "Hey, there's a reality show that's crewing up in West Virginia." I said, "Okay, yeah, let's do it." So my buddy's like, okay, we have to be there this weekend. We were going to be hired as locals, which means that if you're a local, they don't put you up. They don't pay for your hotel. They don't pay for your food or anything. But we were not locals. I think I was living in Georgia at the time, and I think my other two friends were living in Pennsylvania.
Those are different states from West Virginia.
They are.
I understand.
But we were locals. So it's like, okay, we have to pay for a hotel room. And I definitely, I'll just say, I slept in my car a couple nights,
Yeah.
is what I will say. So we get there that first weekend, and then one of the associate producers, who my friend had gotten this job from, said, "Whoops, I goofed. It's actually next weekend." You guys didn't drive 4 or 5 hours and already get a hotel room, did you?
All right.
Oh, you did? Cool.
Well, that's fine because you live here because you're a local.
Yeah, this isn't a problem. So a week passes by. We go back down. The job actually starts. So I don't know if y'all remember a show called Buck Wild. It was
No, that sounds too horny.
It was basically someone was like, "Hey, you know Jersey Shore and how that made $1 bazillion? What if we do that, but in a different state, and we make fun of a different stereotype?"
Yeah, sounds like what they do.
So we're just following these kids around who are in West Virginia. And my job was to essentially drive people around. Now, the majority of the crew were all from L.A., and so their favorite thing to talk about was how Charleston, West Virginia was not L.A., and how they were just mad about that. They weren't in L.A., and they were so mad about it, even though they knew that's what the job was. And they also, aside from that, they also love to complain about me driving because I was not driving fast enough. Like,
They wanted crazy taxi stuff.
they did. They're like, "We got to get to this Pizza Hut in 15 seconds." You're being,
Did they at least play the soundtrack?
They got the same Bad Religion song.
they were all members of the Offspring. It was rough and it sucked, and a lot of our work took us into a more rural area with very windy dirt roads. Mm-hmm. And we usually wouldn't get back until very late at night because that's when the TV happens, is after midnight. So I remember one instance of driving back. They're like, "Hey man, can you speed up? I'd really like to, get to my hotel room, and I'm sure you want to get to the backseat of your car to sleep. Let's hurry it up." So I start going fast on these dirt roads, and then I swear 5 minutes later, like, "Hey man, you want to slow down a bit? You're going kind of fast."
Oh,
It sucked.
does that person realize that 5 minutes ago that was the same person they still are?
No, because
They
in
didn't-
LA, you change personality every 5 minutes.
It is, one, I was local. Two, I was a PA. So it's, I'm the garbage person. Yeah, man, I'm going to keep saying it sucked a bunch to reiterate. But so I was not having a very good time. My buddy who got me into this mess was like, "I think I'm going to try and dip." And I was like, "One, fuck you, but I'm going to follow your lead." And so I was thinking about money or no, I need to get out of this. This is a horrible situation.
Yeah.
And there were two events that pushed it over the edge. One was a Friday night we were shooting, and it was supposed to be a big event. The girls on the show, they had rented them a house, and almost every night there were complaints from the neighbors. The cops had come by to break things up, all things that the show wanted to happen.
Yeah.
But but in reality, they were actually getting kicked out of that house because there were too many complaints. So the show's idea, when I say the show's idea, they mean the 6 producers who were there, and then every day, to sort of sidetrack, every day they would have a big meeting in a hotel conference room of what are the storylines that we're going to pursue in these kids in these underage kids who we buy beer for getting drunk. What are they going to do? What's the arc that they're all going to go through?
Oh my god.
Should they find a gun? We can make it happen.
Just hours and hours. And I remember going into the conference room after, for some reason, I don't know, someone said go sit in a corner, I guess. They just a big, giant platter of uneaten sandwiches, and like in just a big platter of fruit, and just being so disgusted and like heartbroken, and also stealing several sandwiches. So that brain trust came up with a very, very big idea of like, okay, they're going to go into town, they're going to go to a club, they're going to invite some dudes over, they're going to have a big party at their house. The cops, because they always come, are going to come. Let's go. That's going to be a nice end of the episode. So they do all that.
We stayed up all night, but it was worth it.
The cops do not come. The neighbors do not complain. Oh no. So one of the producers, in like the worst West Virginian accent I've heard, and also I think they were pretending to be a lady on top of that, were called the cops to try and get them there. The cops came by. They looked out the window and then rode past. They knew what was up. They did not want to be a part of it. So the producers got a hold of one of their neighbors, who, for the sake of the story, I will inform you, she was a black woman. They talked to her like, hey, will you go over to that house and complain to the girls that they're being too loud? And this woman gets super excited because, one, she's going to be on TV. Two, she's going to get paid. And she's really into the idea. Like, oh, yeah, I'll yell at these girls. It'll be fun. Mm-hmm. She goes over there. It's the big moment. She knocks.
And everything goes fine.
Yeah.
Upset.
Yeah.
And they gave me my own show from after that. She goes to complain. One of the girls almost immediately just starts beating up this woman, and a fist fight ensues, and racial slurs are said. And my not because I'm like a good person, or like I just think it was just adrenaline or instinct. I'm like, oh, I need to stop this because this is literally a hate crime.
Yeah.
And on the walkies, they're like, do not interfere. Do not interfere. And they just kept repeating that a bunch. Oh. And then, like, a couple months later, it's on MTV at, like, 10 p.m.
Oh. They left that in? I mean,
yeah, of course they left that in.
Fucking Christ.
Man. Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's a rough story.
Yeah. There's... So, yeah, I was like, yeah, I need to leave. And I did, and I'll say this, but this definitely doesn't cap that. But a few days later, we got a new production coordinator. None of these words mean anything. It's just another boss. They gave me another boss.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And they went back in time and fixed what happened.
But I remember he gathered all the PAs up, because I think our job for that day was cleaning out a barn that the kids were going to live in. So he gathers all the PAs up, and he's like, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to train you all to act like production coordinators. We're not going to pay you anymore, and we're definitely not going to change your job title in the credits. But isn't this wonderful that us, the people from LA, are giving you locals the knowledge of how to tell other people what to do? So I think 2 days I was on another set, which had every set has problems, but not horrible soul crushing problems like this did.
Yeah, that would that's the kind of stuff I have deep depressions about, and like the right JRPG has to come out to get me out of it.
It needs to have a job system.
It absolutely has to have experience and job experience.
Yeah, it needs to have some sort of monster collecting component.
And like one of the feelings I associate with not a career, but just like having a slightly more adulthood power is that like you are less at the whims of insane people who are just like do not interfere, for instance. So my question is, do you feel just at the whims of like crazy stuff like that in your like the gigs you have to do now, or is that part of your life like kind of over?
I think everyone, any sort of in any sort of freelance situation, you get that sixth sense about you, and you can sort of smell a bad time from a mile away. So I'd say that's the only thing I've gained. I know I can usually tell that, well, this is a bad idea, and I'm not going to do it.
Okay. It doesn't stop. You just stop stepping in it.
Yeah, I'm definitely a baby, and I don't know what I'm doing or what to do. And then sometimes it's, hey man, so I got a friend, and because you have an emotional attachment to the person asking you this, you end up doing a job that maybe you shouldn't have done, or you might have had less money, but like you wouldn't have been miserable for several months.
Like, this is why I joke that like no one should ever make eye contact and like we should live in cubes and never interact with each other. But if that were the case, you wouldn't be having those situations where you feel indebted to find out about this friend.
Yeah, it's in my line of work, the word favor definitely gets thrown about a lot.
I'm thankful I don't work in an industry where like you have to do like favors and keep track of that, because like I can't keep track of like money, which is like the main one. So like there's this other counter, this other resource pool that I don't understand.
What's great about the favor system is that no one remembers anything and it doesn't count.
Oh, cool.
yeah.
So you don't even have to worry about it. You have to succumb to it, but you get nothing out of it. It's great.
Well, that's what work is, so that's good. The takeaway, which is just like, hey, here's a job about observing misery, and if someone was like, don't you dare stop the misery, you'll get fired.
Cog Talk.
Vince, I hear you're a cog.
Oh yeah, I'm.
What's the deal?
All right, my specific cog is resource manager. I'm a resource manager cog at an advertising industry. So like advertising is it's its own massive cog that is turning, and then I'm like a little ball bearing somewhere deep inside the machine that is lubricated with the fallen ideas of creative people. That's what advertising is.
You know, every time I've tried to apply for advertising jobs, they made me feel real dumb.
Really?
Yeah, so tell me more about what it means to manage resources in an advertising.
It sounds like you're playing a Euro game. It sounds like, well, I have 5 rock and 3 ore and 2 food, and if I spent 2 food to get a free worker, I
get a banner
5
ad.
rock.
It's pretty much it. I'm in the process of interviewing for another job, and they gave me a homework assignment that was, you have 2 resources that need to work on these projects, but the time doesn't add up. So how are you going to solve it? Show your work. And it is very much like, okay, well, I got my ideal team is I'm putting together 2 creative directors to oversee a senior copywriting team and a digital design team, but one of those designers has to know Sketch. The other designer has to know how to work in wireframes and C++. Then I got to get a developer to actually build the website. But that developer's not good enough, so I got to get a senior developer to help that developer run and build the website. On top of that, we need production, so program or project management, and then we need account managers to talk to the client and do nothing.
Isn't this like what Crusader Kings is? Like, this is like you're managing how much? Your job is to manage all these moving parts all the time.
Oh yeah, yes, all moving parts all the time. They want to get me to a point where I never sleep, but I will not. I will sleep. They tried to do that to me over the summer.
For it.
I said no. I have my weekends, you fools.
I still have to sleep during the summer. I don't know what you thought,
Yeah.
but it's the same amount.
And
Yeah, the sun charges you up.
it is astonishing. Like the advertising industry as a whole is like in this weird transitionary period where things are consolidating, but they aren't because every agency is part of a larger agency. So it's like small shops. Like my agency is a small shop that was a big shop. It turned into a small shop that is now part of a big shop. But then one of the middle-sized agencies was like, no, we want to eat up all these other agencies. So they're like, rum, rum, rum. I'm worried that I might spill some NDA information also.
I mean, like,
but I'm
compared to other industries, like advertising has layoffs and like mergers like crazy fast at smaller levels, right? Because it's just like, oh, this studio got too big. Guess what? You don't have a house now.
Yeah.
What's striking me about your description of your job is like you're in an industry where, I mean, every industry has an insane structure that was sort of thrown together by random happenstance over the years, and nobody having the time to be like, well, let's sit down and actually think this out and make this make sense. That never happens. So you're just in the supercharged version of that. And on top of that, your job is to know all of those interactions and also to understand what every job title means, which to me sounds like the hardest job in the world. Like if someone had a job title that was like project management assistant, I'd be like, that person doesn't do a job. Like they just show up and sort of just like sit in a corner and eat crackers all day and then go home.
Well, when we worked in an office, that was it. But what a project management assistant does is runs the day-to-day operations of the team, where the project manager, depending on the level, is more so managing client demand and the financial infrastructure that is the assignment or the project. The titles make no sense, but I have to know what everybody on my team does. So to that point,
what you just pulled out was like, if I'm like, damn, have you ever heard of music? And you like pulled out a guitar and like, played All Along the Watchtower perfect on the first try.
It is a weird double speak where if I want to start talking about financial quarters and whether or not this is going to be part of revenue share, like you guys don't even know what an ICA is. You don't know what a freelance request form looks like, or all the hoops I have to jump through, or sometimes the hoops I don't jump through.
So the thing that's wild to me is, I'm like adjacent in project management. I like do communications and process design for that, but it's not in the context of anything remotely creative. So like we talk about project management and the stuff I do, it's like, well, here are the IT needs we need. We have these like specific things the server needs to do. We need to slot developers in there to get that ready. None of that involves I need artists and I need to make very subjective artistic choices and have those implemented, which the thought of doing that makes me very tired. Tom handles like a lot, like for the project we just finished, like how we did it is we knew people and that was it. But your job is to understand people you don't know, and that's fucked up.
Yeah, it kind of sucks when a very important and powerful person emails me with my new boss CC'd saying, I need 3 of your people. And I have to say, but it's Friday at 4. Also, what is the ask? And they're like, we'll get back to you. And I'm like, what are you talking about? This is somebody's life. This is an afternoon they're not going to get to spend with their family or friends. You got to come better with, we'll get back to you. But see, that's where somebody is at a certain level where it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they need.
That is a person who has never felt like a dumb baby bitch in their life. They cannot conceive that they're ever doing anything wrong.
It's not like, hey, pick 3 people. We're going to get them a cake and some balloons, right? It's never that.
Yeah. We're short 3 for laser tag.
Quick, somebody call Vince. We need 3 designers to help play laser tag.
So my understanding of advertising and marketing in the corporate world, and it's very service level. This is sort of what the layperson would think. I know what I've been led to believe by lay people, which is like, if you're in an office cog job, well, that doesn't mean that you can't be creative. That doesn't mean that you have to turn that part of your brain off. You know, art and creativity, well, that's useful in the corporate world too. For example, try the marketing department. That's a cog job that lets you be creative. So what I'm gathering, Vince, is that that's fucking wrong and a huge lie. Am I right?
I would say it's a lie for everybody. Yeah, that's a lie. That's a lie across the board. The only time that you get to be creative is when you get to solve a problem that either the client didn't know existed or you internally did not know existed. And you might say, Vince, how do you know you're not a creative person in your agency? Well, that's also a lie. There was a time where I was a copywriter. I was a copywriter for about a month. And I was so excited to not be in an Excel sheet. I was like, I'm in a Word doc now. I'm free. There are no grid lines on me. You can't hold me down until I started doing the assignment, which was writing headlines for some hospital somewhere. And I wrote about 80 lines. And the executive creative director took one look at the page I printed out and circled 5 of them and said, I need more that are like these.
Yeah.
And so quickly, like I went to another like director level creative who's like a friend of mine. And I was like, hey, am I doing this wrong? He goes, no. He's like,
5 out of 80 is pretty good.
He's like, oh, actually, if he liked some of those, like, you're doing okay. And I was like, wait a minute.
Jesus Christ.
I've allocated people like 16 hours to do this job. And he goes, oh, yeah, those numbers are made up. I was like, so those numbers are made up by people who don't do the job? And he was like, yeah, what do you, they don't care about what we have to do. And so a project that you would think or on paper should take 16 hours a week for 5 weeks ends up taking 60 hours over 3 weeks to meet a client demand that was unexpected, and then they lengthen the project by another 8 weeks, but they take down the hours to about 10, but the input or the output has to double because they're giving you more time, so you can build 4 more 30-second ads to go on their website that nobody's going to see.
I just wanted to say I had my aha moment that like the numbers everywhere don't add up, which is like in my previous job, we had like every major consulting firm in there, and like just one day I was like, all right, that consultant is 22. That person on paper, or at least according to what they've been sold, knows more than me and anyone else here for the rate they're choosing, and they're working 8 hours. Oh no! Like it's just like it's just like I saw finally that the shapes on the wall were shadows.
Oh yeah. I get handed staff plans, and by handed I mean emailed 2 days before a project is supposed to start, and say, "Hey, we don't have these people." And then I have to email them back politely saying, "No, you're right. We don't have these people, and I'm going to do everything I can to find these people before this project starts. Also, could you mind talking to the client and see if we could start maybe even an hour later?"
This is like a nightmare situation because you have a sense of pressure that is ever changing without clear demands because the demands change hourly.
Oh yeah, and
that's hell to me.
Yeah, and specifically as a resource manager, I was trained from the jump, from the first resource coordinator job I had to this one. So all 2 of them, it's like your job as a resource manager or resource person is to never say no. It's like, but I just had a meeting with the finance director and my boss and this project manager who all told me no.
A lot of people were telling me no.
My favorite moment was like I became friends with the first job I had, the CFO. He was a beautiful French man, very direct, and somebody was giving me a bunch of shit for not being able to go get a freelance person because they wanted this specific person to work on a project. And I was like, I don't think we have a financial case for that, given that. And I pointed to somebody next to them. I was like, given that person, that designer, has not worked on anything in a week. And they're like, no, but they're not the right skill set. I was like, you need a designer. This is a designer. try it, and then we'll see. He goes, no, you have to go like talk to finance and get this approved. And I walk into Patrice's office and I say, hey, Patrice, these are the numbers. This is who they want to hire. He said, no, go away. And I went to them. I said, Patrice said, no, go away.
What a king.
Because I can't say no. Patrice can say no. He's a French
Jesus
king. He's the
Christ.
best.
I think, I think this adds to our dumb baby bitch theory and like adds to the sort of taxonomy that we're building out. I think that like one of the lines in the sand that divides the dumb baby bitches from the gods is like if you are capable of saying no, like you have evolved. Like you're not a human anymore. You're one of the angel people. Holy shit! The idea of this saying no, that just can't happen.
It's
Like, I can't
amazing
do
when it
that.
happens. Like my boss has the power to say no to people now, and he wields it with reckless abandon.
Hell yeah!
Like he will drop into a meeting that I am running, and a question will come up, and he'll just be like, "Actually, you know what? The answer is no on that because you haven't provided Vince with this, this, and this." And I was like, "My savior." But then he also put me in a pretty terrible position at one point. This could get cut out, but I had to lay 13 people off.
You know, those things, people, those resources.
I mean,
Those
that's
people that I
obviously
spent literal years to get to know so that I could tell you whether or not they actually work well with this somebody or if they even know how to use Adobe.
the scary thing about the word resource is that obviously the small brain thing is to be like, well, you mean it's to dehumanize people, and it's like the scary part about it is not that. It's that when you use terms like resource, when you're in project management and accounting software, it means that human beings appear as lines as indifferent from like photocopiers. They are just an expense, and that's it.
Yep. One thing that I do want to get your take on, Vince, is what does it feel like to be working in an industry where, like, when someone gets a new computer and is setting up their computer, everyone's like, oh, the first thing you got to do before you do anything else, if you want to have a good experience with your new computer, the first thing you got to do is you have to download an extension for your browser that completely annihilates the entire industry Vince works on and makes it as though it didn't exist. If you don't do that, you're going to be fucking miserable. What's that feel like to just be like, I've spent all my time and blood and just the few drops of my youth still left in me to create stuff that everyone who knows how to get rid of it gets rid of it.
I think the best way I could describe it, and I think it's perfect for this podcast, I thought about this a little bit, is that I am the Shadow Hokage. I am Sasuke running around, time warping, and fixing stuff before it even gets to you. But then when it does show up on Naruto's door, I'm there like, I told you it was coming, guys. I'm right here. I told you the Kara are here. They're on their way. The space demons are coming. And then that's when you guys get, a Boruto to help save Konoha.
The other thing that like keeps happening, and I guess like there's no real reckoning with it because Facebook has too much power, but it feels like literally every financial quarter there's a big news story that's like, all the numbers about advertising views and impressions are fake. This is really going to fuck all this up. And like, I feel like that story happens every month, and it hasn't changed anything.
The only thing that has changed is our schedules and timelines for our projects. Because when our clients see those, like literally they see Adweek articles, and then they come into a meeting being like, hey, remember how we asked for 2 minute-and-a-half long ads to go in front of YouTube TV, YouTube, Hulu, all this other stuff? And they're like, well, now we want 4 15-second ads to go in front of Quibi. But we also want those minute ads. So you have to rewrite your ad so that you can cut it to fit 5 different time signatures. You need a minute 30, you need a 1 minute, you need a 30, you need a 15, and you need a 20-second ad out of the 2 days you have to shoot remotely in Serbia or whatever.
You can't be like, have you checked out Quibi yet? This is a bad bet.
No, because the client says, I'm paying you pennies. I'm paying you literal pennies. So why won't you make this for me?
We had to write a check, therefore our hands are tired, and you have to make up for that.
Never been horny. Never been horny. Don't tell the paper that I ever got horny.
So, friends, I'm looking at the document where we have all of our topics, and you guys wrote, horny Goku. You know what we're talking about. Fuck you, we do not.
Well, actually, I do. Tom doesn't.
Oh, no.
Tom doesn't.
No.
Yeah. But I don't want to. I'll let them prove it.
So I'll start because I brought this to the world's attention. So on an episode of Dragon Ball Z, Goku just ate a bean, so he's all healthy and wants to immediately go into space. And while walking towards the spaceship, he runs into Bulma's mom, Panchi. And she's being very flirtatious. And as she walks away, there is video evidence of Goku looking at her and then eyes going downwards towards the butt.
No.
It's there. So for the past over a month, I think, as of this recording, we have had a back and forth with our audience over horny Goku and whether that is actually a thing. And I guess we wanted to bring it up to y'all's attention because, like, we have opened a Pandora's box. We don't know how to stop it.
Yeah, it won't go away. We keep trying to keep it out of our streams and our podcast discourse, but the people want to hash this out.
But chat demands horny Goku.
Yeah, they want to take this to court.
So I want to just propose something that, like, Bulma's mom is, like, the only, like, clear quote-unquote MILF in this show. Have you considered this? Like, that there's, like, some element that Goku in his martial arts adventure has not, like, really thought about an attractive older lady, and, like, this is what finally made him realize what a butt was?
Oh, I was going to say, that's definitely true. He's never fought a MILF.
It's true, yeah.
That I can remember.
And then another reason why Super sucks, he fights so many MILFs and it's like, whatever.
What a great thing to hear.
I think this must be non-canon because I feel like this is a massive failure of character writing. Goku would never take notice of a butt in any sense other than, like, your glutes are such that I can really tell that your kicks are going to have a lot of power to them.
Now, my opponent may say this, but Your Honor, I would like to cite earlier episodes of Dragon Ball in which Goku has repeatedly patted people's genitals out of pure curiosity. So on that grounds, I believe Goku has the propensity for horniness.
What I think has happened, at least with our audience, is that a lot of people thought they were just waiting for an opportunity to think about Goku being horny. Before then, they weren't allowed. Mm-hmm. Clearly, like that was the forbidden knowledge, the forbidden thoughts. And then
it's like you found out you can type "fuck" in the Word document.
They turned our podcast upside down and it spelled boobs, and they were all very excited.
Yeah, because once we said that, they got angry or excited. It's one of those two things.
Yeah, it's like, here's a new thing we can, like, latch onto and wring enjoyment out of.
Before this, we'd like to joke that Goku had sex once, but only once that we were aware of.
Like, that makes sense because, like, even when Goten shows up, actually, no, hold on, scratch that. There's, like, later a point where, like, Goku just, like, yeah, I was dead when Gotenks was born. Anyway, like, it doesn't quite explicitly say that, like, his dad is the mailman, but, like, it could be there.
In DBZ Kakarot, the game, there is a scene where you have to play as Gohan for a little bit because you have to give Chi-Chi and Goku some privacy. And that is an explicit voiced thought that Gohan has. It's like, I better give them, I better let my parents fuck. I got to get out of here. I know what's going down.
And that might be the closest thing to canon that there is.
And wait, is this like when he is dressed in his little robe and he's like 3 years old?
This is right before they fight Cell.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. That's really fucked up then, because he knows everything.
Yeah. He has so many books.
Yeah. All that book learning had to be in there somewhere.
So, again, no one on this show's been horny. How do we stop this? Can we? Do we just ride the wave?
As someone who has experienced the pure rush of saying something stupid and having people you don't know on the line repeat it endlessly at you, which obviously gives you a huge amount of dopamine because I said snuck and dick, like, you should definitely ride the wave. But, like, canonically, I choose to believe what had happened is that this was just, like, one of Toriyama's ways to just, like, fight back at the industry that made him do this. Like, he snuck something in there that knowingly fucks everything up. And if that's true, I respect it because, like, we've joked about this before, and you pointed out, like, Dragon Ball started as a show where a chubby baby with a tail, like, does testicle inspection, and he's like, nope, you don't got him. And then at some point they had a fight.
Yeah. Toriyama, in his heart of hearts, it's like, if I had my perfect world and no one was around to tell me what to do and everyone just let me be an artist, an artist with a capital A, my magnum opus would be a story about a bunch of chubby babies trying to see a girl's panties. And she's like, no. But they're like, ooh, panties. And then that would just go on for 100 chapters, and I die happy, unlike now.
Also, the reason I believe that he intentionally sabotaged it is because, like, there's an interview that Tom showed me with both Toriyama and Oda of One Piece fame, and it's like the questions are like, Oda, why did you do this?
Oda's giving the interview to Toriyama.
Oh, that's what
he's asking the question.
Yeah, and the short and long of it is Oda knows everything about Toriyama and his work, and how it comes off as Toriyama's like, I don't really give a shit. They're little doodles, dude.
Oda's like, man, oh my god, I remember it changed my life when you had that fight with Tao Pai Pai. Oh, that was incredible. I remember so much about that. And he's like, no shade, not joking. Who's Tao Pai Pai? He's like, he was the assassin who could throw a big log and he would jump on the log and he could fly. It was the first time that Goku got defeated and had to train. And he's like, did that happen? I don't think that happened.
Did my estate say that happened?
I mean, it stands to reason. We gave away the Dragon Ball art book that came out, I think, last year. And the opening that's written by Toriyama is very much like, hey, look, I started making doodles, and then people thought they were good. I still think they're just kind of doodles, but here's a book for you to admire my work? That's like the opening that's a foreword of the book. And I was like, oh man, this guy's great.
It really takes an otherworldly talent to make something that you think is just hollow and pointless and pandering and dumb, and have it be like the most beloved fucking comic book in the world.
Like, I remember watching, like, Dragon Ball after school and, like, just starting wherever the TV show was and being like, this is my life now. This is so weird. And if you told me, yeah, the guy who made this, he hates it. He fucking hates it.
I don't know if you've experienced this within your podcasting. I was about to say career, but now I'm punishing myself mentally.
Good save.
But like we are at the point where we've been doing the show for over 4 years, and we're at the point where some people will write in or or like in chat when we stream, they'll mention something from the podcast. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Why would we ever say this? This is so.
We get that all the time. Someone was like, "You need to make a clip of you guys talking about Honeycrisp," and Tom sent that to me, and I was like, when did we talk about the cereal? What is happening?
We never mentioned the Smacks Bear once.
and literally an hour later, Tom was like, "Oh, the fruit tournament." So I relate. It's like amazing. It's a good feeling.
So for the record, let's go around and give a definitive answer that we'll forget in an hour, whether or not we think Goku was horny or not. I think in that moment he was. My headcanon is that Saiyans, their T only goes to two different lanes. It's either fighting and training or the sex.
That's why Vegeta can never match Goku.
He's
no
always
matter how hard he
his
tries,
key.
because he loves his wife.
Yeah, his two pathways are too big. And like Goku, he'd been in the hospital for a month. He couldn't train. Where's all that T going? It's going to the horny part of his brain. That's why he was so excited to get off planet, so he could not feel these feelings anymore.
He could work out under 30 times gravity to get rid of his horniness.
Yeah, that's what he was like. I've been thinking about my wife a lot lately. This is weird. Do you have that spaceship ready yet? Let's go. I would like to give my verdict, and I agree with Aaron that he was horny at that point, but he forgot and it never happened again. He lives in a permanent present where past experiences do not factor in unless they're like head trauma. So he was horny for that moment. He lusted over Bulma's mom sincerely, but then he goldfish memoried it away, and it's fine now.
Yeah, I think I'm with Joe. I like to think of it, I think and the most accurate way to think of it is like imagine someone had a mild heart attack and recovered completely. You wouldn't be like, that guy always is having heart attacks. Like, you wouldn't be like, that's a heart attack guy who is always, he's constantly going on and on about how his heart don't work. It's like, no, it happened once, and then we all got over it, and he's fine now. That's where I'm at. I'm with Joe. I agree.
Well, I mean, I think the eyes have it. Goku is horny. Or if you would like to consider that Goku was only horny for a brief moment, that is fine too. But it happened in my headcanon. Goku's always just horny underneath all that fighting. If he ever stops fighting for too long, he's gonna get horny. That's why they make Toriyama create all these other forms for him.
That's also not wrong, because like all of Super starts and the universe becomes in massive danger, like the multiverse, not even their universe, but 12 other universes, basically because Goku had time to himself. Like, that's what happened. Like, Chi-Chi's like, you better do the radish thing, and he's like, okay. And then basically everyone's at risk now because he was not fighting.
Joe, you're going to need to make a clip of that final verdicts around the horn of Goku being horny. And here's another fun thing, is that I'm going to ask you to do that in like an hour, and you're going to respond, not as a joke, who's Goku?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's pronounced Gon, and he has a husband.
We're the anime sickos, and we're here to say anime is bad in a war crime way.
Folks, that's it. That's the episode. We're done. Thank you for listening, and humongous thank you to the Kame House Party boys, Aaron, J. Shelton, and Vince White, for coming on our show today. It was a delight, long in the making. I'm glad it finally happened. And golly, it lived up to my expectations, didn't it, though?
It did. I'm excited. After this, I'm just going to ask both of you what video games you play, so maybe we can play stuff online. I'm letting you know that's going to happen.
Yeah, thank y'all for inviting us on here. I've been dreaming about this since I found the podcast last year. Vince and I joke about, and are also very serious about how y'all are our rivals. Like you're the Tien Shin Han to our Goku, just because Tien Shin Han has discipline and we don't. And it's in a very Dragon Ball sense of you better not stop training because we won't either.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
That's right.
I like that
It's
because
like-
I'm Chaozu. I can do math in an arena and lose
You're
to Krillin.
You're a little boy, and no one's really clear what your function is.
We remember your death fondly.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
All right. Enough of that shit. Where can people find you online? Where can people if they're like correctly going, oh man, Aaron and Vince kick ass. I want to know more about them. They seem like they have funny jokes. What's the deal? Where can they go?
If you're one of those kind of people, you can go to kamehouseparty.com, KameHouseParty.com, or search at Kame House Party on all the social medias. That's where we are. We also are on Twitch, twitch.tv/Kame House Party every single Thursday night at 8 p.m.
Wow.
We do the streaming. We got a podcast for you every Tuesday, hot and ready, a hot, fresh, buttery pod. It's going to be waiting for you on Tuesday. So go check that stuff out.
I will say, not only is their show funny as hell, but when we were Guesto mode, there were some bits that were a little like flabby, and I sort of flubbed on and had to restart it. And then that episode came out in like a week, and I listened to it, and all those little times were gone. You think that that's not a high bar, but that's actually incredible. Like, that's the reason people like Anime Sickos, is because I spent like an hour cutting stuff out. To hear other people do it, fucking, like, that's when I knew y'all were like top class dudes.
Thank
So
you.
nice.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all the time we got for Anime Sickos. I mean, technically we'd go forever, but like, that'd be bad. People wouldn't want to listen to that. It's too long.
I'm so hungry.
I've been Tom, an Anime Sicko.
I am Joe, an anime sicko.
I am Aaron, an anime sicko.
And I'm Vegeta, an anime sicko.
Whoa!
He was here the whole time.
I'm Vince, an anime sicko, and Vegeta's been here the whole time.
I can't believe we had Vegeta on the show and didn't we like? Actually, I'm looking at the document. We have 3 pages of questions for Vegeta. I just forgot to look at them. This is. I'm ashamed of myself. The show's canceled. Anime Sickos is over. Bye, everybody.
See ya.
I wanted to talk about how much it sucks to work for Frieza.
Yeah, me and Vegeta got great cog talk.
That's the end. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm leaving that little bit in for sure. Thank you for listening to Anime Sickos. I've been Tom, a sicko. You can follow me on Twitter at TomHarrison19. Joe is also a sicko. You can follow him on Twitter at Sharia Uncle. You can follow Anime Sickos on Twitter at Anime Sickos, or email us at animesickos@gmail.com. Please leave us a review or something. I don't know. Tell a friend. Anyway, until next time, bye.